Hi, everyone. I'm Sue Hollenberg. I'm Education Director for Montclair Film, and thank you. And we're really excited to have you tonight. At first, I want to give a quick shout out to the Montclair Center Business Improvement District. They are they're our partners on the StorySLAM events. The Montclair Bid is a not-for-profit organization established to enhance and promote downtown Montclair as a regional shopping, dining, and entertainment destination. And we are so thrilled to work alongside them for this program during our film festival and throughout the year. A few announcements. There's some cool stuff coming up I want to tell you guys about. Tomorrow night, we have Montclair Improv Comedy performing here at Cinema 505 at 8 p.m. And we have some of our improv people here, so come out. It's a really fun night. If you are a teacher or have teachers in your life, we have a free teacher appreciation screening of the film Radical, followed by a reception here on May 9th. If you're interested, you can RSVP at montclairfilm.org/education or talk to me after, and it's a really fun night, so come on. If you know any teachers, send them out on May 9th. On May 11th, we have a special screening of the highly anticipated film Ezra. The film stars Montclair local William Fitzgerald along with Robert De Niro, Bobby Cannavale, and Rose Byrne. Our first screening is sold out, but we just announced a second screening, and William Fitzgerald will be there to introduce the film. And our next Story Slam will be an extra special one on May 16th in conjunction with the Montclair Public Library's Big Read. Our theme will be immigration stories. And this is presented in partnership with AAPI Montclair and the Montclair Bid. And you can sign up to tell a story, or you can just come by for a very moving night. And also, be sure to save the date for New Jersey's North to Shore Festival this June, specifically the weekend of June 27th through the 30th. Montclair Film will be hosting our first summer showcase that weekend at the Claridge, and will feature limited run and festival films all weekend. We will be announcing the lineup in mid-May, so stay tuned. And also, don't forget to get your tickets for Paul Giamatti in conversation with Stephen Colbert at NJPAC on June 29th. And there's still limited space available in our spring and summer classes. We have classes for middle school, high school, and adults. We're lucky some of our teachers are here tonight. The classes are really fun, so we encourage you to sign up or sign your kids up. And you can find out information on all of these programs on our website at montclairfilm.org. We've got a lot going on this spring and the summer, so don't miss out, and be sure to sign up for our weekly mailers. And finally, we also want to thank our members. If you aren't already signed up, please consider joining our family of more than 3,000 member households. In addition to discounts and early access during the festival, membership benefits are available at the Claridge, as well as with our Montclair Film education programs. The good news, I'm sure some of you know, the bar is open tonight. Feel free to quickly, if you get some concessions now, and you also have a chance to do that when the judges are deliberating after the storytellers have finished. Please note our fire exits. If anyone needs to use the restrooms, the bathrooms are out there. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our host for the evening, Duncan Miller. Duncan is our storytelling teacher and coach here at Montclair Film. Duncan is a former actor and improviser who has performed with Second City and Improv Olympic in Chicago. He has performed in various theaters, short films, and festivals in New York City, Chicago, and Baltimore prior to earning his master's degree in education. And currently, Duncan is a high school academic dean at North Star Academy in Newark, helping to guide the next generation of storytellers. Please welcome Duncan.
Thank you, Sue. Thanks, everybody. Good evening. I'm very excited to be here with you all tonight. Keep that applause going. Who has never been here before? Yes, welcome. Let's give them a round of applause, our newbies. Welcome, newbies. And where are my returners at? All right. Yes, welcome back. Newbies, we need to cheer for them. Come on, newbies. Cheer them up. Lots of veteran storytellers in the room and lots of people who've been here and been great audience members. So we're really excited to build community with you tonight. I know it's the end of the month, but it is April Fool's month, so happy April Fools. So we're just going to celebrate foolishness tonight, right? Suffer some fools? Fool around? No. The scriptwriters have been on strike, so they're back and messing with me, sorry. But I did look up April Fools to try to figure out the origins on my little bit of research, former history teacher. Habits die hard. So it goes back to 16th century France, the Julians, the Gregorians, who wants to have the right calendar, starts in January, starts in April. Basically, April Fools is like anybody who wasn't in on the joke that the new calendar starts in January. Like, not funny, but the joke is that it's not a funny joke, and it comes from France. That's all they were able to say, but really nobody actually knows the joke, so thanks, France. Yeah, wow, okay, there's one French in the house. So we are going to see 10 storytellers tonight. We're really excited to welcome up our returners and welcome our new storytellers to the room, and we're excited to hear some foolishness from the group. Before we dive into the stories, we have to meet our judges. Those are the ones who are really in charge tonight. So we'd love to give them a great round of applause when I introduce them. First up here on the end, let's welcome Claudine O'Hayan. Welcome, Claudine. Claudine's an Emmy Award-winning producer and director. She's a professional voice actor. She could be heard in projects ranging from commercials to scripted podcasts, medical explainers, promos, audiobooks, to repeat gigs, live announcing major network award shows like the Academy of Country Music Awards, the Hollywood Film Awards, and the Daytime Emmys, one of which she did right from her home studio to more than 6 million viewers. Very cool. Claudine also has appeared on some national network commercials, independent studio films, and web series. Let's give it up again for Claudine. Kicking it to the other end, this is Craig Baldo. Welcome, Craig. Thank you. Craig is a stand-up comedian and writer. He's performed on Late Night with Conan O'Brien, Comedy Central's Premium Blend, and For the Moth. His most recent gig was 7 seasons as a house warm-up for Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and he also teaches stand-up comedy at Montclair Film right here, and would love to see you in his class. Third in the middle, last but not least, is Janice Freeman-Clark. Welcome, Janice. Janice is the award-winning founding artistic director of Vanguard Theater here in Montclair. Vanguard's mission is challenging societal and cultural narratives through theater, championing dream, diversity, reciprocity, education, activism, and mentorship. Annually, Vanguard curates 4 professional main stage productions, attracting top-tier Broadway talent. Furthermore, Vanguard's robust educational initiatives impact approximately 500 students yearly. Janice's influence extends beyond the stage. She imparts her expertise as a professional of musical theater at Manhattan School of Music and at Seton Hall University. Notably, she excels as a freelance director, most recently at the York Theater in New York City. Let's give one round of applause for Janice. All right. Now that we know who's in charge here tonight, let's learn our rules. Storytellers, listen up. You will have 6 minutes for your story tonight. The wonderful Sue here at the front has 3 signs. When you see the green card, you are halfway through. You are at 3 minutes. A yellow card, it says it so clearly. There is 1 minute remaining. And at 6 minutes is your red card. Six minutes is elapsed, and you should wrap your story up. We're not going to Apollo you off the stage and yank you with a cane, but please try to wrap it up, and I will give you some warm reminders from the side of the stage as well. The only 2 rules are be on time and be on theme. We want to be entertained by your story, of course, and we want to make sure we celebrate our theme for tonight. One note about the mic storytellers, it does move around. We want you to get it about a fist away from your face so you can really be heard, especially all the way to the back. So feel free to make yourself at home up here. Get comfortable with your microphone. The theme of Fooled tonight is going to be one we're excited to bring: gimmicks, games, shenanigans. We are going to dive into stories of either being fooled or fooling someone else. We have 10 storytellers who are going to share with us tonight, and we're about to dive right in. Let's welcome up our first storyteller to the stage. Welcome, Bob Sinecki. Welcome, Bob.
Thanks, Duncan. Can everybody hear me? Okay, good. Okay. Well, no fooling. I stand in front of you to make a big confession. I'm a pretty respected citizen, an advertising executive, a loving husband, father, doting grandfather, and a serial party crasher. Don't gasp, don't laugh. I know you've all done it. Small time stuff. Pretending you're part of the guided tour at the museum and walking around. Moving down to those expensive seats when no one's looking. Or taking the second or third falafel sample at Costco, pretending it's for your wife and kids. We've all done it, pretending something that we're not. Well, my story takes place a long time ago in a city that's far away, and a long, long time ago, in the 70s. And the city is Washington, D.C. And at the time, there were no security guards, no security cameras. I don't even think there were photo IDs. The city was teeming with diplomats, conventioneers, government workers. But it had lots of plush, big, expensive hotels. And that's where our story starts. My story, as most downward spirals start, has to do with money. I was in college. I needed some money, some scratch. It was time to look for a job. And as a young college kid with no brains, I had a problem figuring out a job that would work for me. So one day I sat down with the Washington Post and the want ads. I found two that interested me. First one I circled was working on a production line in a condom factory. I crossed that off because I didn't want that much responsibility. My second was become a dance instructor at Arthur Murray Studios. The requirements were a love of dance and a winning personality. Well, I showed up, and I really got into it. My specialty was Latin dances, the mambo, the merengue, the cilantro. Okay, I just wanted to spice things up. I couldn't resist that. I got into it. I even grew like that pencil-thin mustache. My favorite were those Latin dances, as I said. And as I got into it, the cha-cha to my clients became the cha-cha-cha. My favorite was the karaoke, I'm sorry. And I would say to my clients, it has a few steps that are tricky, a little wicky-wacky-wicky. I was out of Arthur Murray pretty quickly. Well, so what happened was I was in college and, I was dating my future wife. We went to one of those big hotels one night, and we were really kind of bored. We were at a prom or something like that, but we were a little bored, and we stood outside a ballroom and looked inside, and there were lights and candles and music and bountiful buffets. It was a wedding. We looked at each other, and I do have to tell you, a wedding to a party crasher is the gateway drug. Once you do it, you're hooked. It's easy. Let me tell you the thing. Nobody at a wedding exactly knows everybody. The bride's side doesn't know the groom's side, the friends, whatever. So you walk in. Well, that night we walked in, we had a great time. Okay? Next week, instead of going out for a pizza or the movies, I said, want to go crashing? My wife said, okay. Well, we went from a couple of weddings, we quickly moved up the ladder to the National Order of the Caribou, the Morticians Convention, and we got braver and braver. We even started double dating and taking a couple of other couples with us to show them the ropes on how to do it. Okay? And one of my favorite stories was the skee ball. We were with a couple of people. I think I was somewhere else. My wife was with a few of her friends, and she looked, and there in front of the skee ball at the entrance was Bob Hope, Bob Redford, and Jean-Claude Keeley. She looked, the doors opened, they walked in, and the girls walked in behind them. And they giggled and waved and walked in, and we were in to the skee ball. So we did that, and then one night at a wedding, my MO was always to lead a Latin dance, like the conga or whatever, and to dance with the mother of the bride. And one night, as we crashed with 6 people, and I danced with the mother of the bride, she said to me, "You're a crasher, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes!" And she said, "There's security waiting to escort you out of the hotel." The bubble burst, the dream ended. And, we just went back to being responsible adults, and we married and had kids. And the story shifts till about 30 years later. And for some reason, we ended up in Atlantic City at the Miss America pageant for another reason. But we were sitting in a restaurant, and someone came up. The waiter said, "Are you here for someone special?" And I'm telling you, crashing is like being addicted to something. You get that opening. You're never fully cured. "Are you here for someone special?" And I said, "Yes, we are the parents of Miss Missouri." And with that, we walked into the rooms of the state saying, "We're here with Miss Missouri." And we got in there. Well, anyways, that's all behind us now. There's 3 things that I've learned. One, that is not the main thing. The one thing I've learned is that my daughter is getting married in about 6 months. First thing I did was hire 3 bouncers, because I know. But what I wanted to say, and I believe this, we all do crazy things when we're young. 3 things. First, never be afraid to be assertive. Walk into that room. Be the first to get the jumbo shrimp and plunge it into that cocktail sauce. Be yourself. Third, make your presence known. Don't be a wallflower. Go up, tell the waiter the toast is limp, or ask the band to play something like Disco Inferno. Demand to hear shout, or better yet, a karaoke. And finally, never ever be afraid to play a fool, because sometimes it can open up doors that take you to very exciting places. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bob. Let's keep it going for Bob Sinecki. I also am into dance. I have a 3-year-old daughter. We are doing Daddy and Me dance class. And if you've ever seen a man my size, chassé, I'm not even sure how to say it. It's right across the street, 10 a.m. on Saturdays. Come check me out. Please don't. I am middling at best. All right, we're going to keep it going. Thanks, Bob, starting us off with a moral to the story as well. Let's welcome our second storyteller to the stage. Welcome Susan Kleiner. Come on up, Susan.
It was the age of Camelot, but we didn't know it. That's how my mother describes living in Cheesequake Woods in Old Bridge, New Jersey in the 1970s. And sure, there were some great times. Cheesequake Woods was a planned development in Old Bridge. There were probably 4 or 5 models of houses in our development, house upon house, kind of like Poltergeist, but New Jersey. There was a very active homeowners association that had great neighborhood parties with dance contests for the kids. Side note, you are looking at the 1974 dance contest winner. Thank you. There was a co-op for buying things like bulk laundry detergent and arranging for the helicopter that would spray chemicals from above to kill the gypsy moths. And yes, I remember dancing outside in the snow when the helicopter was around. Every house in the neighborhood had 3 or 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, decent size backyards, nuclear families, mom, dad, kids. There were kids everywhere. And I mean everywhere. And this was the time when kids roamed free. We would leave the house and wander to different people's houses by foot and by bike, roaming the neighborhood in our pack, playing games, grazing for food, drinking water from the hose, having fun. And we had fun in the summer of 1977. We would carpool with other moms and kids to the community pool. We would have swim lessons and swim team. I remember vividly on one of those car rides singing at the top of my lungs. Sky rockets in flight, dun dun, afternoon delight. All the neighborhood kids joined in. And yes, I really thought that song was about astronauts having fun in space. Mom drove us all to the swim club, and if she stopped on the way at the corner store to buy a pack of smokes, she would let us buy candy cigarettes so we could also puff while driving. At the swim club, if we were lucky enough to have some spare change, we could buy a drink at the snack shack that they called a suicide because it was when they mixed all the flavors together. Was that Camelot? For me, it was also a time when my nuclear family was intact. Mother, father, my older brother. He was 20 months older than me and so much cooler. He was adventurous, he was fun. He's actually sitting over there. A leader who at an early age could get people to follow him and his ideas. And one day, he had a great idea to play a joke on me. It was a Sunday afternoon in August. I guess we had had a busy day or a busy weekend because everyone in my family decided to take a geschlafen, a nap, at the same time. The entire family fell asleep, and one by one, they all woke up before me. My brother had an epiphany. The rest of the family could tell me that I had slept through the night and that it was now 7 in the morning and not 7 at night. My father, who sometimes allowed alcohol to sway his decision-making, thought that it was a great idea. My mother wasn't so sure, but she gave in. Mom served up waffles for our family meal, orange juice from concentrate, milk that we had delivered fresh in glass bottles, 8 o'clock coffee ground from beans from the A&P. I had my bathing suit on under my shorts, grabbed my towel, and waited at the end of our driveway for the neighborhood carpool. Mrs. Scharf was in charge that day of picking up kids for the swim team, and I stood at the end of the driveway, and I waited. I watched cars go by. I waited. Mrs. Scharf was late. Strange. And then I could hear cicadas and crickets, and I waited. And then it was getting dark out instead of light, and I waited. My mother finally came to the end of the driveway and collected me, telling me that it was a joke, and they had fooled me into believing that I had slept all night. I suppose that when I started crying hysterically as we headed back into the house, my mother realized the gravity of her mistake. I felt like such a fool. Looking back at that time with the benefit of hindsight, some 46 years later, I have empathy for that family that, let's face it, did come up with a very funny prank. Although maybe not so funny for a 7-year-old girl. I have long since forgiven them, Jamie, for their part in playing out that little bit of Camelot Lost, which in time would fall us under beneath betrayals that would make the faithless Guinevere and Lancelot blush. But still, that little girl crying at the end of the driveway has never left me. She lost something that day, and so did I. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Let's keep it going for Susan Kleiner. Wow. I've driven by that Cheesequake exit on the way to the shore, and I always thought, like, who are these people? But I ain't going there. Hardcore. Wow. All right. All right, we have a real comedian in the room who's about to step up. Let's welcome to the stage Colin McKinnon. Welcome, Colin.
Childbirth is a real miracle. At least that's what I've been told. I got a text message about it walking to the grocery store 12 hours after the only one I was ever supposed to attend besides my own. Although the word adoption had been uttered by her, I had more faith that the summa cum laude graduate of an evangelical college, whom I met working at a Christian-themed homeschool supply company over the pandemic, would not give up our baby. I also thought at the very least the state of Colorado would verify it was my signature before they auctioned off my offspring. At the onset of quarantine, the number of orders I was fulfilling in the warehouse tripled, but the hourly rate at which they were paying me did not increase whatsoever. So between that and my now pregnant ex-girlfriend working from home in a town called, wait for it, Loveland, I opted to commute an hour and a half, mostly on foot, because social distancing caused all the buses I could take to be full, to a job making more money checking government-mandated N95 masks for defects, because I wasn't required to be vaccinated to do that. I may have been an essential worker, but the salary I needed to pay both rent and food rendered me utterly unnecessary. And of course, the temp agency who employed me would just send somebody else who was willing to risk the elements and disease. Because she was 22 at the time and I was 36, I was not expecting us to get married. I just was not expecting my firstborn and only child that I made through consensual sex with an adult to be sold to someone who could do neither of those things. The morbidly obese Oral Roberts graduate was 24, an age at which I was desperate to get women my age to take me seriously. He started trolling high school parking lots to find what is affectionately referred to in this country as an Indiana bride. After making me miss her birth and wait 8 days to meet her, his first words to me were not "thank you," but rather "I hope her eyes change color." He also can't wait to get her into gymnastics and has ethical concerns with the way his company is behaving now that it's being publicly traded. Keeping in mind that my two fatal flaws in this Greek tragedy are being unmarried and poor. And if it ended there, that'd be enough. But less than a month after being born, I was forced to drive in the opposite direction of my daughter towards New Jersey, where it turned out my father, the attorney, who didn't come through in helping stop her adoption, also, shockingly, did not have the custom van he said one of the clients he had for me, so I had nowhere to live, and was forced to move in with and live under the draconian laws of my mother, who's still bitter that I got my driver's license. This woman with a master's in holistic health, when I finally could no longer hold back tears, said I needed to do more to be less depressed. So by the time I finally made it out of there in time, most adoptions wait a year to finalize them, but this one was expedited so they could celebrate reopening the courts. Made it just under that. And then when I politely asked that the pictures of my daughter not include man bosoms, I was told that it's not disrespectful to get sent pictures of my daughter with her father. And then, when I reached out to her mother in the name of Christian charity, that she intervene on my behalf with the people that she picked, I was arrested for violating her order of protection and had to spend 2 nights in Denver Downtown Correctional. Jail wasn't that bad. I only thought I was going to run out of air 7 or 8 times. And while I was going to court every day for 6 months, they kept hanging this domestic violence diversionary thing over me that would get me out of everything. And for the first time in my life, I think I actually didn't cave and said, there's already a piece of paper allegedly suggesting to my daughter that I don't love her. There's not going to be one that suggests her mother was ever in danger from me. And that was a 1.5 years ago. Since then, I've been homeless and still can't find a job. You'd think in this country they'd want to keep families together, but they don't. But despite being betrayed by my family and friends and the government and the church and anyone else involved in it, if my daughter ever wants to talk to me, if she lives, and I say anything to her other than, I'm your father, it's my job to protect you, and I failed, I'm a fool. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Colin. Let's keep it going. All right. We are almost halfway through our evening. We're going to keep it going. Let's welcome to the stage a new to us storyteller, but an experienced teacher and storyteller herself. Let's welcome Patty Grunther to the stage. Patty.
Hi, everyone. The first thing I have to say is this is not like his story. So this story starts in 1996. I was living in Milan with my 5-year-old son, and I met this wonderful Italian guy, Antonio, and we fell madly in love. Now, I had planned to come to Los Angeles for the summer. I had a job teaching at my ex-university at the college that I attended, and so he came with. And so the 3 of us, Marco, Antonio, and I, got on a plane and jetted off to Southern California. While there, we decided, hey, Vegas is a hop, skip, and a jump away. Let's go get married. So we loaded up Marco in the car, and we took off. When we got to the border between California and Nevada, we saw this enormous building, the Nevada Welcome Center. So of course we were curious. We went in. There was a football-sized room with different wedding venues, dozens of wedding venues. Oh my God, we were in heaven. We're touring around. What should we do? Wait, I want a rodeo. I'm gonna be a cowgirl and come in on a horse. Well, but wait, look over here. You can be a mermaid. Let's get married in a pool and have a wet wedding. But then again, it's Vegas. Maybe we should do the nudist wedding because we want to see our justice of the peace naked, right? So in the end, we felt this calling. We looked up and there was Elvis the Pelvis on the wall saying, come to Graceland Chapel, baby. And we said, yes, we're going to Graceland. So we got to Vegas, checked into our Motel 6, and here I have to insert a little side note to tell you that Antonio and I had made a pact. We'd made a wedding pact that we were going to spend the least amount of money possible. All our clothes came from a thrift shop or from our closet, and we were going to Motel 6, and we were going to do it as cheap as it comes. So we went and got our marriage license, $25. It's a deal. That's a whole nother story, by the way, getting your marriage license in Vegas for another night. And we called the Graceland Chapel, and we said, what's the cheapest wedding we can come for tonight? And they said, well, we got the Saturday special, only $250. We're like, no, way out of our budget. Are you kidding? Oh, we're so disappointed. We wanted Elvis. And my husband said, I have this great idea. Ask him if we can just pretend we're getting married and take some pictures. And I said, they're not going to let us do that. And we got on the phone with the woman, and she said, hey, honey, this is Vegas. Let me give you a price. And so sure enough, we went over to the Graceland Chapel, and we had 10 pictures taken with Elvis, lighting candles, exchanging rings, the whole thing, and $40. All right, we're coming in under our budget. We're going great, but we still have to get married. So we look up City Hall. You can get married at Las Vegas City Hall 24 hours a day. $35. Do the math. That's $100. Okay, we did it for $100. So we have a great evening. Marco, my son, gets to choose the wedding dinner, and we end up at McDonald's. But all right, whatever. And we go over 2:30 in the morning. We wake Marco up. We bundle him up. We get in the car. We head to City Hall. We walk into the office, and the city clerk comes in and says, okay, I'm ready to marry you. Where's your witness? We don't have a witness. We have a ring bearer. Well, we have situations like this. She calls, Jerry, come on over here. Jerry, the night watchman, was our best man and witness. And he says, folks, I got to let you know, I can't come in because I got to make my rounds, but I'll knock on the window and wave every once in a while. We were fine with that. So we go in. Now, before we get to the ceremony, I have to tell you that my husband had a slight of panic attack during the afternoon, and he said, wait a minute, I don't speak English. How am I going to do this? And I said, cretino, stupido. Haven't you ever seen any film di Hollywood? You have to say, I do. Non devi fare niente. I do. Oh, he says in front of the mirror, I do. He practices, I do. Every reflective service in Vegas, and there are a lot of them, he stops, I do. So here we are in front of Heidi. Heidi's our clerk, and she says, Antonio, oh, by the way, we put our video camera on the cash register. We thought that was fitting for Vegas. And we balanced it there to get a little cinema verite. And she says, Antonio, repeat after me. I, Antonio, take thee, Patricia, to be my wedded bride. 2 seconds of silence, 3 seconds. I nudge him. He goes, I do. She says, Antonio, repeat after me. Nothing phases Heidi. She has seen it all. Can you imagine? And he starts. I, Antonio, take thee, Patricia, right? And he just, whatever comes out, like comes out a stream of gibberish. And I look over at Heidi. She's cool. So we go forward to have and to hold, have a hold, and to cherish and adore, cherry adore, or should not, etc. And he marches through, right? We get to the very end. Marco gives Heidi the ring. She gives it to Antonio, and she says, home stretch here, with this ring I thee endow. Silence. I look over. He's tapped out. He's been muttering this gibberish at 3 in the morning, and he's just frozen. And you see on the video, I kick him, right? And he comes through and he says, ding-a-dong. Where did he get it? No one will ever know the answer to that. Where did he get ding and dong? Anyway, we're married. It's great. Epilogue number 1. We go back to Italy. We show the video to our friends. An uproar. You were fooled. You were tricked. She tricked you. Call the Pope. You're going to get an annulment immediately. She forced you. Epilogue number 2. When we fight, and this is marriage Italian style, so of course we fight. I get to a limit and I say, I'm done. Divorce. You're dead for me. I want a divorce. And what does Antonio say? No divorce for you. You ding-a-dong con me. Tutta la vita. Your whole life, you ding-a-dong with me. Thank you.
All right, let's keep it going for Patty Grunther. Nice job, Antonio. He's here in the flesh. Wonderful. All right. All right, we're going to keep it going. Let's bring up our next storyteller. Welcome to the stage, Carl Kelsch. Come on up, Carl.
And he adjusted it for me. Thank you. So there's this feeling you get when you realize you've been duped, and it's like your body's screaming from the inside and your cheeks get flush with shame. Well, I was in this Wendy's drive-thru and this guy pulls up beside me And he starts talking to me through my window, and he's like, I see this dent you have on your car, and he's explaining to me that he can fix this dent for way cheaper than I would pay at a body shop. And, I'm kind of like, trying to not think about it, but he's like, I'm just gonna park over on the other side. If you wanna stop, you can get my card. I'm mobile, I could do it here, I could do it at your house. And I did stop. And let me just say before you judge me, this dent was like my Achilles heel. He did not realize this, but I'd acquired this dent 2 months before when I was visiting my partner at the hospital, and he was recovering from open heart surgery. And when I was pulling out of the parking lot in his leased car, I was so discombobulated that I pulled forward into this pylon that I couldn't see over my hood. I was like so angry at myself. Like I was like, the day I take him out of the hospital, I'm also gonna have to fess up that I put the dent in his car. And I couldn't honestly think of a time when I would have $1,500, which really seems unfair, really seems like some mechanic's gonna get one over on me and get this money. It's just not important to me right now. But all of a sudden I felt like I kind of had like an option I wanted to explore. So I stopped, and instead of giving me his card, he's like, look, this is an easy one. I could deal with this right here. And he's like, all you have to do, look, let me just show you what I can do. He's like, go in your car, put your foot on the brake, and I'm doing that. The car starts bucking like a Bronco for like a couple minutes. And after he waves me out, I come out. And like if you were to squint, it would be like, oh, that's actually like the dent looks like it's gone. But in the bright light of day, you start seeing, oh my God, he put like spray paint on the front of my car and like covered half of like the headlight with paint. So I'm looking at it, and he's now telling me that I owe him $380 for this. And this guy is big and intimidating. I'm like, I was trying to tell you I don't have the money. I literally didn't even have $380 in my bank account at the time. He's like, well, I take Cash App. So knowing this credit card doesn't have enough money on it, I still try to send it. It doesn't go through. I'm realizing like if I try to go, this guy's like either gonna kick my car or trail me home. I was like, I have one card, but it's at home. He's like, that's okay, I'll follow you to your house. You'll put the money on a Visa gift card at Walgreens and we'll be settled. So we pull up to my house, and my partner's out there with the card, and he's trying to say, like, what the heck is going on? He's looking at me like, what did you get yourself into? And I'm like, just give me the card. I can explain it more later. This guy fixed our car. Just let me deal with this. And that's how I felt. I felt like I stopped, I engaged this person, not really accepting that they, without my consent, started tooling with my car. But now I just wanted to end it. I just wanted to finish it and end this. We went to Walgreens. I honestly wanted to like blink 5 times to the cashier. Like, call the police. This guy's like strong-arming this money out of me. Then I'm thinking like, how many other guys has he brought to the Walgreens? Anyway, I finished the transaction and I went home and I bawled my eyes out. My body was screaming. And I Googled 3 words, dent repair scam. And that's exactly what it's called, a dent repair scam. And it happens all over the country in parking lots to fools like me. And there were 2 things I could either do. I could either cry about it and just say to my partner, no one speaks of this again. Or I could try to turn it into something positive. And so the first thing I did was actually sign up for the 6 free therapy appointments that my company offers as part of our insurance. And I learned not to call myself stupid and to be so hard on myself. The other thing I did was later that year, I shot a short film called Scammers, in which the main character is the scam artist, because I found it very therapeutic to try to get into this person's head. And the script does end with the scammer having their own moment of shame. And it was very therapeutic, I have to say. And then 2 years later, here we are in 2024. The film is played at 6 film festivals. My partner just celebrated 2 years past his open heart surgery. He's doing well. And I'm thinking, these people who take advantage of us, they want us to feel ashamed. they want us to never tell anyone what happened. But I think if you're strong enough, yeah, there's a lot that can come out of being vulnerable and sharing it with people. And every time somebody watches this film, that's one person who's definitely going to send a scammer away if they walk up to their car. In fact, I had little air fresheners printed up with the name of the film that I give out at the screenings. And this Sunday, I'm up for Best Director for Short Film at the Queens World Film Festival. And I could honestly say, if I saw my scammer again, I would say, thank you for the inspiration. And then I would kick him in the shin and I'd run really fast. Thank you.
Yes, keep it going for Carl. Wow. So many morals in that story, but for me, it's don't explore your options in a Wendy's parking lot. Don't do it. All right. Thank you, Carl. That was awesome. Let's keep it going for our next storyteller. Her name is Megan Dewan. Come on up, Megan.
Thank you, Duncan. I appreciate it. How are we all doing tonight? I'm so glad to hear it. I'm so glad to have you all here to digest all these stories. So I thank you for your time. So, as long as I can remember, I had a very close relationship with my relatives. My cousins, I mean, I know they're the same thing, but I consider my cousins, my siblings, and my family friends. It was always imperative to my dad, especially, both my parents, of course, but my dad in particular wanted all of us to know, my sister and I, that these relationships will foster so much growth and development for you throughout the years in your life. That as you age, you will fall back on these people not only for moral and emotional support, but also as a secondary beacon to having a fun relationship and just another way to explore the world. So, my father had a friend, and they both went to college together, and his friend had a son, and just for the sake of not giving their identity away, I'm going to call this person Canoe, like a rowing boat, and I'm going to refer to them with they, them pronouns. So, one day, we went to Canoe's house, and it was my sister and I, and we usually are with my parents, and this time, they were not with us, so, as little kids, that's always so exciting to just not have your parents there. You could do whatever you want. So we got so excited, and we knew that this was something that Canoe's mom had been planning for a while. A little spring hangout, if you will. So the spring hangout consisted of eating Rita's ice cream, or Italian ice, which is my personal favorite, playing arts and crafts, and being outside on the swing set. So with the amalgamation of activities that we did today, that day, you would think that we would be all tired out from all the events, but no. What Canoe's mom told us after kind of shocked me. She bent down to us and said, "Hey, you want to know a secret?" And I said, "Yeah, what? What is it? Tell me. She said, "We're going to see the Jonas Brothers live in concert tonight." And I know. And that's the thing, is that we didn't know that she knew who the Jonas Brothers were. And my friend Canoe always liked whatever we liked, and vice versa. And my sister, who is 2 years younger than both Canoe and I, she always, kind of took the lead and was always trying to make, she was a kind of a leader, but also trying to go along with our plans. So if we played cops and robbers, she was always the cop, I was always the robber. So naturally, as the older sister, you have to take the kick every now and then. So every time we were together, that was something that I fondly remember. So, and also a memory that we share with Canoe very much. So When Canoe, my sister, and I heard of this plan, we eagerly grabbed our snacks, our water, our concert gear, if you will, which just consisted of our clothes and maybe a hair tie or two. And we got in the car, and we weren't even paying attention to the journey there. All we could focus on was the concert, and we were looking at each other, Canoe, my sister, and I, and we said, oh my God, are they gonna play the year 3000? Are they gonna play Burning Up? Oh my God, I hope they play Burning Up. If they play Burning Up, I'm gonna scream. So, naturally, we were all so excited, and like I said, we couldn't even pay attention. And by the time we finally got to the destination, after what felt like hours, Canoe's mom finally said, we're here, and we're looking ahead, and what we see is a cinema, not a concert venue. So, to our dismay, and just to our utter shock in general, as maybe like 2 little 9-year-olds and 1 7-year-old, we were like, what? No. Wait, why are we here? And she told us, we're here to see the Jonas Brothers. They're inside. Come, let's go see them. And I thought, something's fishy here. I don't like it. So I was skeptic from the start of the end of the car ride into the theater. And by the time we got inside, all we saw was a theater filled with little girls and then an empty movie screen. And we sat on our seats, and we didn't say anything to each other up until this point. We were kind of just going along, going through the motions, and we were like, okay, so where are they? Where are the Jonas Brothers? Where are the Joe Bros? Joe, I need to see you. You're my favorite. So we're sitting on our seats, and we're patiently waiting. And then the film starts playing, and then we see the Jonas Brothers, and we think, and we look at Canoe's mom like, what did you do? What is this? And she said, it's the Jonas Brothers. See, they're live in concert in the film. I'm going to kill you. I got so mad. I didn't say that to her, obviously, because, as a 9-year-old, you gotta have respect, especially as a little brown person. You gotta hold respect to your elders. So in my mind, I was thinking, oh, I don't like this one bit. But I didn't realize, I was the only one to realize that we had been duped in that very moment. My sister was kind of just in a trance because she saw Nick Jonas and she thought, oh my God. And then Canoe looked at the screen and went, oh my God. And I thought, am I the only one who's annoyed? Like, what is this? And then when we were dropped off at home, I looked at my mom and she said, how was your day today? And I said, I don't want to talk about it. The end. Thank you.
All right, let's keep it going for Megan DeWan. Nice job, Megan.
Thank you.
Come on, Canoe's mom. All right. I actually saw Joe Jonas at a Broadway show. That show was wicked. And he is as handsome as you want him to be until he has the little cup they make you put a witch's hat on, right? Because they don't let you drink a drink in the theater without having a top. And then he's like trying to sip out of the witch's hat. It was a little less attractive. So if it makes you feel better, you didn't miss too much. Yeah. All right. We are going to keep it going. Coming from the back in a handsome blue suit. Let's welcome to the stage Scott Holt. Come on up, Scott.
Yeah. Look, I've been fooling people my whole life, okay? I remember in first grade, me and a friend of mine, we switched winter starter jackets and went home with different moms. So that's like one of my first memories. But I think the time I fooled people the most was one morning, I got dressed up in a suit, and I got my 10-foot paddleboard, and I went down to the Hudson River in Jersey City, and I pretended to be a commuter. And so, everyone I knew was telling me this was a bad idea. They were like, do not do this. This is a bad idea. Except for my wife, who she was uncharacteristically telling me to go for it. And then I found out later she took a term life insurance policy out on me. Let's move on. And I had all these gags planned when I got. I was like going to be reading the newspaper on the board, waving at people, drinking a coffee, right? Have to go through my bag. I had a briefcase with fake papers, right? I had a hot coffee. I was ready to go. I was going to have the papers go everywhere, try to corral them. And then I got out there, and there was no gags. I was just trying to survive. There is not, it was like, so being a single person vessel, you're supposed to have a life jacket and a whistle. And I didn't even leash the board to myself. I was not prepared. It was, the Hudson River is in estuary, I can't say it. Estuary, there you go, thank you. And so the tide goes all the way up to Troy, New York, okay? Yes, I'm not well educated. And as you'll understand by this story. And so, luckily I just happened to go during a slack tide, so there was no tide. But still, there was wakes coming from like every which direction. It was like coming from behind me. I was like listing at 90 degrees at certain times. I almost went in a bunch of times. Like, it was hard. And it was like, an exhausting athletic endeavor that I was so tired and thirsty from. But I was so committed to the bit that all I had was hot coffee. So I was like, no. I didn't think it was a bad idea until I got out there. Then I was like, no, people were right. This was a bad idea. And New York is just very stingy with their ladders. There's nowhere to shoot for. There's no I thought I was gonna hit a pier and all of a sudden I'm aimed at Staten Island. I was like, no one wants to go to Staten Island, especially with wet shoes. So I was like, I gotta figure this out. And then I finally see a broken down water taxi station. So I aim for the water taxi station. And I'm going, and then all of a sudden I'm starting to pull up on it, and there's 2 cops and a waterway worker waiting for me. And the cop's like, "Are you trying to die today?" I was like, "No, sir, I'm just trying to make my meeting." I was like, I was like, "Time is money, but I gotta go. What's going on here?" They're like, "You can't come up here." I was like, "All right, well, what do you want me to do?" And the New York Waterway, that guy, he had a heart as big as his mouth. He was super rude to me, but also very helpful. Like, took the board out for me. But the cops thought I was a terrorist. I was like, dressed like this? I was like, I just got a free shoe shine. I'm trying to keep these things. And they, went through my bag, and that's where the fake papers came in handy. They were like, "Oh, this guy is going to a meeting." like, let him go. They just couldn't believe I was dry. But they let me go to make my meeting, right? And so this story eventually blows up, right? And it starts going all over the news, and then people starting to, they want to have me on. So I go on Good Morning America and Good Day New York. I go on the panel of Good Day New York. I show up, and there's like an intern trying to take me to makeup. I was like, "I'm not going to makeup." And then, I asked them to get me beer, and they told me it was 7 in the morning. "We're not getting you beer." I was like, "All right." Then I went to go. I was on Inside Edition, and those greedy guys, they wanted me to do it all over again. They're like, "Do it again, and we want to film you." I was like, "How many suits do you think a guy like me owns?" I was like, I can't. They put on like a nice microphone on me. I kept trying to pretend to fall in and tell them cops were behind them. They didn't like me at the end. And then, it was funny. I was on like the TVs in the backs of taxi cabs and like the gas station pumps, and I had friends tell me they saw me on their news in Hong Kong and Italy, and I was getting like weird emails from Germany. I was like, "Yeah, okay, go ahead, send it up," And but the one that I especially liked the most was I inspired the cover of a New Yorker. And I liked that because it really annoyed my older, overachieving sister. She was jealous, and that made me happy. But yeah, my college was finally proud of me. I mean, lowest GPA ever to graduate Providence College. How you doing? But guys, there was no meeting. I had no agenda. I didn't know. There was nothing I was trying. I just wanted to brighten some commuter's day. And I think that's the moral of the story, is it's okay to fool around. You might make the world laugh. All right. Thanks. My name's Scott.
All right, let's keep it going for Scott Holtz, local celebrity. Dry shoes today. He's all good. All right, let's keep it going. We are almost there. We have just 3 more stories for you tonight. Let's welcome to the stage Joanne Simaluka. Come on up, Joanne.
Popular opinion says our best life happens before sunrise. I once read that Ryan Seacrest aligns his chakras at 4:05 a.m., and I like my chakras aligned just like the next guy, but what's wrong with 9? Popular opinion is what's wrong. Case in point. Chris was a florist from Westwood that I met on an online dating site after friends and family members badgered me to join. Instincts tell me I do not like online dating. It's not organic, but everyone insists it's where the singles are. I get it, blah. So Chris and I meet for lunch twice a week for several weeks. Lunch. My choice. Lunch is safe, right? No alcohol, it's timed, and it's just lunch, which ironically is the name of another dating site. So I'm a turtle, a slow dater, and I told him this up front. He respected that. In fact, he agreed. This guy was not jumping in blindly. He explained to me how he was engaged and called the wedding off 2 months before the big day, which was the hardest thing he'd ever done, especially knowing that it would crush someone he loved. But he knew deep down inside it wouldn't work. So after years of marriage to somebody that I loved, I had to call it quits too. So we had that in common. We both had the guts to walk away from something we knew wouldn't work till death did us part. Score on the morals and values meter. I think we might be ready for dinner. Chris was forthcoming about his life. That's how we got to know each other, talking about everything from family and love to divorce and depression, you know, all those light things that go with salmon. He was a Giants fan and was flying out of Newark to a playoff game. Night before leaving, he asked to see me the next day, but I had a hair appointment scheduled already. And my roots at the time were anything but roots. They were full strands, and I needed the appointment. So I said no. I suggested to him, let's speak upon your return, which was only 2 days away. Chris understood, but he went on to say how much I mean to him. Joanne, I've been smiling for weeks because of you. I'm so happy, and I have to tell you something. I've been dying to say it, but scared at the same time. I feel like I can't wait any longer. Can we talk on my drive to the airport? Oh my God. What if it's the L word, I thought. What? We've just been meeting for sandwiches. I mean, I know we've gotten close, and he gives me butterflies. I mean, he's got a job, a business, morals and values, but love. No. It's too soon. It's way too soon. I mean, what do I even say back? Next day, hair salon, foils, full effect. Women will understand this. Chris is texting me that he's getting ready to board and he wants a few minutes of my time. Asks if I could take his call. How do I do this, I think? I'm in foils. So my hairdresser, who happens to be my neighbor growing up, is asking me who I'm texting with. Is it a love interest? By the way, she's married to her high school sweetheart and has been on a date in 25 years. I guess because I was so caught up in the uncertainty of the whole thing, I tell her the short version, and she gasps and she screams, he's gonna tell you he loves you. That's what he's gonna say. The next station over chimes in, hairdresser and customer in harmony. How long have you been dating? You think you're gonna get engaged? You should get engaged. The holidays are coming. Wouldn't that be so nice, the Christmas engagement? I say to myself, I can't, but I do anyway. I reply to Chris and I agree to take his call. With my foils on and smock, thank God there was no FaceTime back then, I walk into his storage room full of hair dyes and answer, hello? Hey, sweetie, thanks for picking up. I really appreciate it. You have no idea how much you mean to me. I'm about to get on this plane and, well, this just can't wait. I want you to know that I am so sorry. I, in fact, have 2 children and I'm married. My lifeless arm drops from my ear to the side of my leg, phone dangling, Chris yelling, Joanne, please hear me out, I'm going to tell my wife. In one swift motion, I flip the phone closed. Then 5 seconds of blankness follows. I take a deep breath, compose myself, and exit the storage room where now 5 women are waiting with bated breath practically holding hands, totally anxious to hear this love profession, lined up next to each other as if I'm about to toss the bouquet at a wedding. Online dating, I say, yeah, no. And that was the end of that. I think it's time I get my chakras aligned in the dark, and maybe, just maybe, that'll shed some light.
All right, let's keep it going for Joanne. I miss me a flip phone, I'll tell you. We used to be able to really hang up. You know, you grow up, you watch all these TV shows and things, people slamming the receiver down. Now it's just... Yes? What's it like? All right, we got just two more. Let's welcome a veteran storyteller to the stage. Let's give it up for Paul Body. Come on up, Paul.
I work as a teacher's aide for a class of fourth graders with special needs. On the first day of school, our vice principal tells all of us teacher's aides that we are to never talk about the students to anyone, even to each other, unless it's for strictly educational purposes. One of my students, Bobby, has motor skill and intellectual disabilities, except when he wants something. Then he is LeBron Einstein. After a hard session of academics, Bobby enjoys unwinding by popping bubbles. We get him packing bubbles that he packs. And then one day in September, we've run out of packing bubbles. Bobby develops this mysterious stomach ache. At the nurse's office, he flings open the supply closet. Before the nurse and I can subdue him, he has popped the fingers of 6 surgical gloves. Bobby loves, even more than popping bubbles, the playground castle. The playground castle is a structure of platforms with 2 big slides at either end. Every recess, Bobby feels compelled to go down each of the slides 11 times. Our classroom faces the castle playground, the back door of our classroom, and Bobby is always the first student to reach the castle, even though he has the body of a young Santa Claus. One day, early October, while everyone is focused on a science video, Bobby elopes out that back door and rewards himself with a bonus recess on the playground castle. For Halloween, the Halloween parade, Bobby comes dressed as, of all things, Santa Claus. And I am supervising him as all the students in the school march around the school. We're about 3/4 of the way around, and Bobby points behind me, and I look to see what's going on. I just see a group of parents, and meanwhile, Bobby's making a run for the castle playground. Mr. Romas, our teacher, who is costumed as a prison warden, and the school behaviorist, the Wicked Witch of the West, they catch him about 30 feet from the castle. Bobby struggles and then flops to the ground. This creates a tableau that was disturbing to quite a few parents. 1 week after the Santa incident, 2 of my fellow aides are on the top platform of the castle, and they're yelling for help. The vandals the night before had broken one of the slides, and the custodian thought that an orange cone was going to keep Bobby from going down that slide. They're straining to keep Bobby off. I come up, add my 220 pounds, and we're barely able to hold him at bay until the recess bell rings. So the next morning at school, before the students come in, I give a humorous presentation about how our aides are going to keep Bobby safe. I tell them, I'm going to deploy the 4 of you at the bottom of the castle, and when Bobby comes, you chop block him to slow him down. I'll be at the top, and I'll finish him off. I draw this on our whiteboard, like the way a football coach would, with the aides being the X's and then a big O to represent Bobby. So when the students come in, Bobby is in a bad mood because, first of all, he's been shut out of the castle, and we've had a 5-day drought of bubble wrap. An hour later, the vice principal steps into the hallway door of our classroom. I realize that I've got to distract her. Oh, I had inadvertently used permanent marker on the whiteboard. So I realize I've got to divert her from the whiteboard. I tell Bobby, that's the lady who's hoarding all the bubble wrap. Bobby stands up, and he is steaming like a tormented buffalo. All eyes are riveted on the vice principal. Bobby charges across the classroom. At the last second, he veers out the back door and awards himself another bonus recess on the castle playground. Thank you.
All right, let's keep it going for Paul. Can't keep the man from the castle. Wow. All right, we have arrived at our final storyteller for the night, and then we will deliberate, see who won this thing. Let's give it up, a warm round of applause for David Gaines. Come on up, David.
Thank you, Duncan. Thank you, everybody. Wow, great to be in company of such great storytelling and storytellers. Well, let's imagine a bright, sunny day in December, unseasonably warm. December 2005. Maybe climate change not totally bearing down on us, but not characteristically cold as December would be. Very warm and pleasant. I'm pretty sick. And I've got a bag of Chinese herbs that I got from the Chinatown doctor, and I'm gonna walk all the way west on Canal Street back to the 1 train. It's a nice day, I'm feeling like garbage, but I'm gonna walk and get some fresh air. Cut back to 25 years earlier, a childhood in the 1980s. Our experience of a good time as a family was going in from Woodsey, Connecticut, where I grew up, to a Broadway musical. That was our city time, was a Broadway musical, and I'll never forget the tightness of my mother's grip on my hands. So tight, my fingernails were pressing into each other, and her intoning to me in an extremely serious voice, "Do not look anybody in the eye." So New York City, on some level, felt like a strange and scary place to me. So we're almost like an inevitability that you would get like knifed or something, but not if you didn't look anybody in the eye. So I was very cautious as a young adult living in the city and making my way as a young artist and taking in all the city had to offer. And I was sick and I was miserable and I was probably a little bit high, but I was walking along Canal Street and noticing that this particular part of Manhattan, I lived way uptown, which had its own problems, but was a relatively safe place in 2005, I always felt, for a male, I think. Piece of privilege, I think. But Canal Street was like, had a romanticism to it in its smells and its looks. It was Saturday. There was a smell of cheap cologne and knockoff handbags everywhere. And I'm walking along, and it was like a last piece of New York that I'd heard about, like a vestige. And then it was right in front of me, a shell game. The first cousin of three-card Monte, a real honest-to-goodness street corner scam. And there he is, the con. I'll refer to him as the artist from now on. His hands are so fast. The ball is moving through space. I love close-up magic. I'm a sucker for any kind of illusions. And there's just an energy to it, a rhythm. The cups are flipping over. The ball's here, the ball's there. It's a total scene, too. There's onlookers. I'm noticing everybody. This girl to my left is probably in high school. She's wearing these butterfly wings and this, like, the tiniest backpack I've ever seen. There's a big brassy woman on my right. She's loud, and she's guessing wrongly where the ball is. She's the shill, who's the person who works with the artist, and she looks like an idiot. How can she not know where the ball is? I know where the ball is. He knows where the ball is, says the artist, to me. He says it to me. Sure, I'm high. Sure, I've got the flu. But I know where the ball is, and I say so. And there it is, right where I was expecting it to be. I've got a job now, too. I'm the mark. And for a second, I forget that the mark is destined to lose. But I'm feeling the city. I've got the romanticism in my blood, and I devise a quick scheme. I found out the ball was right where I thought it was. I'm going to make a quick buck on this. I'm going to hustle the hustler. I'm going to do it one more time. He's going to let me take a round, and instead of doubling down, which I know is the scam, he wants me to double down. I'm just going to walk. I'll just make that first buck, and then I'll leave. He asked me to put $60 on it. Now, I took $100 out of the ATM that morning on my way downtown. The Chinese doctor got 40 for the herbs. It should have concerned me that the artist knows somehow that I have exactly $60 on me. He just knows. Now it's real. I'm watching close. I've got fast eyes. I know this about myself. I'm gonna win once, and I'm gonna walk. I'm not gonna be greedy. I'm just gonna steal the heart of the city, have a great story to tell about it someday, and I know where that ball is. The hand motions are fluid, but I'm watching. I know which cup has the ball. This is the part in the movie where everything goes into super slow motion. Imagine with me, if you will. I'm in total shock, and it's all over my face. It's not disappointment. It's a little bit like embarrassment. It's shame. It's shame. I'm ashamed. I was never going to con the con. I know this now. I just vomited 3 Jacksons into the universe. And I wasn't planning on going double or nothing, even if I had the money to, because that was all the green I had. So, still in slow motion now, why is the girl with the tiny backpack sailing through the air with a handcuff around her own wrist and her other arm outstretched towards the artist? And oh my goodness, there's another guy here I didn't even notice. I'm pretty sure he's like an inside linebacker for the New York Giants, crashing right through the center of the audience, knocking into me, other people as well, right into the middle of the scene, and the set pieces explode. Sailing through the air, super slow motion. The detail on the Dixie cups is extraordinary. They were just Dixie cups. They weren't fancy shells. There was no artistry really to it. The ball itself was a crumpled up piece of red lint. What used to be the table was really just some cardboard boxes and milk crates. We're surrounded by garbage bags waiting to be picked up. "You in trouble now too, baby. You made a bet," shouts the woman behind me. I realize later that's the shill. She's covering for the artist. She doesn't want me to testify. But me, the linebacker, tiny backpack, and the artist, a quartet for a new performance, quietly excuse ourselves down a side street where I'll give a statement and they'll drive the artist away. I walk slowly back to 7th Avenue and head uptown. It's a long, slow local where I'll begin to put the pieces together on what just happened and make some meaning about it, and that process continues today. Here's the first takeaway. People have spent a lot more money on Broadway tickets than I did that day to be a part of something. I especially note this for people who've never been in the middle of a violent vice squad arrest on a street corner. The next truism is a little harder to face, and that's the element of privilege in all of this. Really, it was my sense of really entitlement and ability that led me to want to participate in this. And the artist was now headed to Rikers Island, as I later learned, and I had the comfort and safety of my apartment to process all of this. He wasn't a performance artist, he was a con artist, and in reality, he needed the $60 more than I did. I think the final realization is really just that the heart of the city was never mine to take. The heart of the city is open and available to everybody at all times. New York City changes. Sometimes it's safe, sometimes it's less safe. It is always full of magic. I still believe this. I think in retrospect, it would be fine to take in all the elements of the day, the warm sunshine, the bustle, the fake cologne and the perfume, the Chinese doctor, the artist, all of it. I went home, I boiled the herbs. They tasted like ass, just as I expected. Slowly, I got better.
All right, let's give it up for David Gaines. And please, let's keep it going for all of our storytellers tonight. Fantastic stories, so many great messages as well. We were blessed to hear these tonight. Our judges are going to retire upstairs for just about 10 or 12 minutes. Our bar is open. We will award 3 winners with some Montclair Films swag, and the top winner tonight also getting a full year membership for free. So please talk to storytellers, talk amongst yourselves. What'd you think? Grab a drink, grab a snack, and we'll be back in 10. Thanks, everybody. Nice job. We are about to reveal our winners. Just to give the audience a heads up, thank you again for being a fantastic audience tonight. Give everybody a round of applause one more time, if you would. Our judges will introduce the winners. Winners, when you come up, please just be prepared to take a quick picture and show off that swag bag for us. We'll put you on the website. And then we're going to take a whole group picture. Even if you didn't win tonight, we want to commemorate the event. We are also recording video and audio, so we'll post that. And storytellers, we will send you this artifact. So you have it. Even if you didn't win, we're so glad that you were here and shared with our community tonight. So without further ado, whom is giving us our 3rd place prize?
Okay. Ready?
Let's do it.
It's second and third is a split.
Whoa. Unprecedented.
So we loved all the stories, by the way. We're all winners tonight, guys.
Yes.
We're all winners.
10 minutes is not enough time to deliberate, I just want to say.
And so tied for, let's say, well, there's no third then. Let's just tied for second.
Yeah.
Patty. Patty,
Woo!
there she is.
Come on up, Patty.
Que cosa fai?
Ding dong! Ding 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 dong dong dong.
There you go. All right, Patty, just step to the
And
side.
sharing
You'll
the
get
glory
one.
of second place.
Carl.
All right, Carl Kells, come on up, Carl.
I will never, ever let anybody come near my car in a drive-through, Carl. Thank you.
Scammers beware of Carl.
Congratulations.
All right, could we get a picture with our tied second place winners?
We have to come here between us?
Musical judges. Beautiful. All right, the tie. Woo! And for our tiebreaker.
Okay. Okay. And our #1 award this evening goes to a piece that we felt was, first of all, everyone did such an amazing job. These stories were so moving and funny and smart and witty and all of that. But this person, we felt like the piece was so well constructed, so poignant, funny, so well executed, and there was a really great message and takeaway. And the winner of the #1 prize, let's get a drum roll, is David!
All right, give it up for David Gaines coming up in the first place spot. Beautiful. Nice job, David. Let's get a picture. Congratulations to our winners. If you could just stay up, and then all of our storytellers, we'd love to get one group shot. We're going to get cozy up here in our community moment. Please come join us on stage. And judges, we got to have you to celebrate the moment. We could get more friendly than that. Come on in. Thanks, Kareem. All right, somebody willing to take a knee? All right, thank you to our storytellers. Thank you for being a fantastic audience tonight. Please check us out at montclairfilm.org. We got another Story Slam next month, as Sue told you. Lots of shows, lots of programs at the cinema across the street. Check us out. We'd love to see you. Have a great night. Get home safe, everybody. Take care.